After one final insult, my fiancée smirked and said, "Go ahead. You'll be crawling back, begging me." She leaned against the marble kitchen island, swirling her wine like she was bored of the entire conversation. Her lips curled into that familiar smirk I had started noticing more over the past few months. The kind that didn't just dismiss me, the kind that reduced me. "Go ahead," she repeated softly. "You'll be crawling back, begging me." For a second, I didn't respond. I just stood there, staring at her, trying to understand how we got here. This wasn't supposed to be us. 3 years ago, when I met Sloane Harrington at a charity gala in Greenwich, she had been magnetic, sharp, elegant, the kind of woman who walked into a room and made people adjust their posture. And somehow, she had chosen me. At least, that's what I believed back then. Back then, I was Nolan Prescott, investment analyst, quietly successful, not flashy, but stable. The kind of man who built things slowly, carefully. And Sloane used to say she admired that. But somewhere along the way, admiration turned into something else. Correction, control, and now this. "Say something, Nolan," she said, tilting her head. "Or is this the part where you storm out dramatically?" I let out a slow breath. "I'm not storming out." She raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I'm leaving," I said, quietly. That made her laugh. Not loudly, not hysterically, just enough to let me know she didn't take me seriously. "You always do this," she said. "You say things like they mean something." I didn't respond, because for the first time, I wasn't saying it for her. I turned toward the hallway. Not rushed, not emotional, just done. 2 days, she called after me. That's my guess. I stopped for half a second, not to turn back, just to let the words settle. Then I kept walking, because deep down, I knew something she didn't. This time was different. The first night felt strange. Not painful, not dramatic, just quiet. I checked into a boutique hotel in Manhattan, overlooking the river. The kind of place Sloane would have approved of. Old habits. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone. No messages. Of course not. Sloane didn't chase. She waited, because she believed everyone eventually came back. And if I'm being honest, she had been right. Until now. Let me ask you something. If someone you loved slowly started treating you like you were replaceable, would you fight harder to stay? Or would you walk away before you forgot your own value? I didn't have the answer back then, but I was starting to learn. Day 2 passed without a word from her. Day 3, I saw her post. A photo at a rooftop bar in Soho. Laughing. Perfect lighting. Perfect angle. Caption, energy unmatched. I almost smiled, because I knew that look. That wasn't happiness. That was performance. By the end of the first week, something unexpected happened. I felt lighter, not because I stopped caring, but because I stopped trying to earn basic respect. And that changed everything. I went back to work, focused harder, longer hours, not to distract myself, but to rebuild something I had quietly neglected. Myself. 2 weeks in, she finally called. I let it ring, not out of spite, out of clarity. A minute later, a message came through. "You done proving your point?" I stared at it for a long time. Then I locked my phone. That should have been the end of it. Clean. Simple. But life rarely works like that. Because 3 weeks later, everything shifted. I was in a meeting downtown when my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I ignored it first. Then it buzzed again. And again. Excused myself. Stepped outside. "Hello." There was a pause on the other end. Then a voice I didn't recognize. "Is this Nolan Prescott?" "Yes." "This is Dr. Elaine Mercer from Westbridge Medical." My stomach tightened slightly. "I'm calling regarding Sloane Harrington." Everything in me stilled. She listed you as her emergency contact. I didn't speak. She's been admitted following a severe panic episode. For a moment, nothing made sense. Sloane? Panic? That didn't fit the image she projected. The perfect control. The composure. "She's asking for you," the doctor added. And just like that, the past 3 weeks collapsed into a single decision. I drove there without thinking. Old instincts. Or maybe something deeper. When I walked into her room, she looked different. Smaller. Not physically, but emotionally. The confidence wasn't there. The sharpness. Gone. She looked up at me slowly. Eyes tired. Vulnerable. "Nolan." I didn't move closer right away. I stayed near the door. Because something had changed. Not just in her. In me. You came, she said softly. I nodded. That's what emergency contacts are for. A faint, almost broken smile appeared on her face. You're different, she whispered. I am. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Real. I didn't think you'd actually leave, she admitted. I know. Her eyes dropped. I thought you'd come back like always. I took a slow breath. That's the problem. Here's where everything shifted. Not because she was weak. Not because I was stronger. But because the dynamic broke. I pushed you too far, she said quietly. I didn't answer immediately. Because I wanted to be honest. Not reactive. Yes, I said. She flinched slightly. Not from anger. From truth. You were right, she added after a moment. I thought I had control over everything. She looked up at me. But I didn't. And for the first time, she wasn't performing. Now, let me ask you something again. If someone only realizes your value after losing access to you, does that change what they deserve from you? I stayed there for 20 minutes. We talked. Calmly. Honestly. No games. No sarcasm. Just two people finally speaking without power plays. When I stood up to leave, she looked confused. You're going? Yes. Her voice dropped. You're not staying? I shook my head gently. No. A long silence followed. Then she asked the question she had been holding back. So that's it. I paused at the door. Not for drama. For clarity. Yes, I said. Her eyes filled slightly. Not exaggerated. Not dramatic. Just real. And as I walked out, I realized something I hadn't fully understood before. Closure doesn't always come from fixing things. Sometimes, it comes from finally seeing them clearly. I didn't hate her. I didn't even regret us. But I also didn't belong in that version of love anymore. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I lost something. I felt like I got something back. Something I didn't even realize I had been giving away. What's your personal reflection? If someone only respects you after you leave, would you give them another chance or walk away for good?